everyone. There we are. Welcome to another episode of Toolhouse, the podcast. It's been quite a busy week and a busy month for us. We have done a ton of progress on our signups. We're seeing a ton of usage on the platform as well. So the platform is doing, the heavens work, but we're also doing our own work and we're being out and about. And today we have great things. We actually have guests. So
Yay!
obviously, Orlando is not the guest. Orlando
I'm
is
not the
the
guest.
host.
We have
Uh,
real guests.
we have
I
real
think,
guests with
is this
real
the first
projects.
time we bring guests on the podcast?
Yes, this is the first time we bring guests on the podcast, and
Nice.
what guests actually had to say. So we been to a hackathon. It was like weekend long hackathon, and obviously when we go to hackathons is to make Toolhouse known to the audience, but also to help people win. And we've done a few hackathons already, and we basically use hackathons to understand how does Toolhouse help with speed of development. Is this a
Yeah.
very fast development platform? And the way we do it, the way we actually answer the question is by understanding: do people sign up, use it, and then win a prize? And if they do, it means that they're
Yeah.
motivated to actually not only use Toolhouse, but they actually accomplish a goal with that.
Do
So
you
it's
remember? Do you remember the stats? How many people have used
I
Toolhouse and won overall all of the hackathons that you've been to?
I think we're about on like a 50% roll right now. Like out
That's
of all the
awesome.
prizes handed so far, half of the people who won a prize did it so by using Toolhouse,
I
and
mean, that's amazing.
that's
We
yeah,
we help people win. All you do, all we can do is help them win and make sure they get those prizes. That's what we care about.
yeah. And what's important is that we don't really hand a cash prize, and that's on purpose because we don't want to artificially incentivize people to use Toolhouse. Like we want Toolhouse to be useful, and then we reward them at the end with something like best of Toolhouse prize, which is additional execution credits, and then obviously all the help, support, fame, and glory that they could possibly achieve. And we hand that prize based on the completeness of the app. Is this actually an app that you can turn into a startup tomorrow? Is the idea there, and is it really tangible for users? And that's why I'm actually pleased today to introduce the winners of Best on Toolhouse at our past hackathon, Tanmesh and Lily from Gift Genie. Hi, both.
Hi,
Hello,
How are you?
I'm good. How are
good.
you?
So, well, congratulations again for winning Best on Toolhouse. You obviously got extra execution credits, and congratulations on Gift Genie. That was a fantastic idea. That
Thank
it's
you.
timely
Yeah,
for the holiday season. I can't wait to you to just like put it out and just let me use it, please.
yeah. So
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
tell us a little bit about how you came up with the idea of your app and kind of like what does it do and how can people use it or how will they be able to use it?
Sure. Initially, we just were interested in, the holidays are coming up. How can we build using agents something that would help people select gifts for their loved ones for the holiday season? And we entered into this hackathon knowing that it was an agent-based hackathon because it was the Llama Index RAG-A-THON. So
Yeah,
there was probably going to be some sort of data retrieval involved or agents. It's either one or the other. And then when we saw all the demos at the end of Friday night, what we saw was that Llama Index had launched workflows, and then there was, Toolhouse talking about the different integrations, and various other companies like Pinecone was there. Some other companies
Vessel
were,
AI. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah, it was a big one. Um, so we were thinking about like based on like what was available, and also like in terms of like what people could use would be like a good use case for thinking about agentic systems, and then something that like would benefit people
yeah,
overall.
yeah. What's your background?
and how did you meet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I'm a software developer at a company called Livex. So uh, my like idea of attending hackathon is like meeting new peoples and like building some stuff in short amount of time and like learning how to collaborate with people. So yeah, and so I and Lily like we met at the event itself, and like I heard about her idea and like it hit me off instantly, and like I thought about like yeah we can like build this in a quick amount of time and like able to
Awesome.
get some like if we can like proceed with the business idea also we can get some value out of it. So yeah.
Yeah. And you, Lily?
I'm currently working at Motion, which is a web browsing automation company, as a data scientist, data analyst, where I'm looking through user data and chat assistant data to have better understanding of usage patterns and what people are using web automation related tasks to perform in their everyday lives. And my background, it has been a lot in the data science and data aspect. Previous to Motai, I worked for Discover Financial Services in their underwriting department,
Yeah.
where they were doing a monolith to microservices migration. And before that, when T-Mobile bought Sprint, Sprint was on a different ERP system, and I helped T-Mobile transition um, the business logic of Sprint over to T-Mobile on the procurement side, building out a OLAP cube. So I've always been interested in the data aspect. But I guess recently going to different hackathons, it's been interesting that this has been the year of the agents, and
Yeah.
really like grateful to be working with Tamesh because we're both having like a toe dipped in the like agentic world right now. Like
Yep.
I guess like 2023 was like all about, oh my gosh, like ChatGPT is so new. So then this year is about agents, and then we're at these companies that have to relate to how
Yeah.
ChatGPT based like systems can perform some sort of task. And not all tasks would I would say are necessarily great for agent specific use cases, but I thought that it would be fun to work on a problem that was generally um, like fluid, because there's different ways that people could recommend um, I guess gifts that are used for other people. There's different ways to think about it in terms of maybe agents creating categories or agents talking to each other and working out why a gift wouldn't be a great idea versus what it would, because a lot of
Interesting.
the aspect of people giving gifts are like maybe lack of thought or lack of understanding around the person. So maybe an agent could come up with additional different possibilities to help people think about like why a person would like the gift or why people wouldn't like the gift, because a lot of times we just haven't really thought through all the aspects of that. And I think agents as a framework is a great prototyping tool that allows people to kind of plug and play in a modular sense, which ties back really well with Toolhouse as a very easy to use, really quick to set up like tool that we could really use to get the data that we needed initially about the user.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
And
think
go for it, Orlando. Yeah.
I think there's been so many attempts in the past to create like some sort of like help me find the perfect gift for person, but no one has done what y'all did, which is like use data, to like inform the process better, right? Usually it's always like me as a person, if I want to buy a gift for say my mom, I will end up on a website where I have to like kind of specify and think about what does my mom like, but this is my perspective. There's no data that confirms like maybe I think my mom loves like I don't know, like French cuisine, but it might not be right, it might be the wrong
Mhm.
Yeah.
perception that I have. And
Mhm.
so what you guys are doing amazing with the data is that you're basing yourself on factual things, right? Like having the
Mhm.
data allows you to inform the agentic system to pick the right gift because on real hard data. And so I think that's really the innovation, and I love it. And yeah, I can't wait to hear more about it and see it and show the world what you all built. And I have a question.
Thank you.
Are you all thinking about putting this on like product hunt before the holidays or anything like that?
If not, let us know, because we will actually help you do that.
Yeah, one of our investors actually one of the top hunters on product hunt, so we can probably help you launch if you want to do that. No
Oh,
pressure.
wow, thank you.
Yeah. No,
Well,
no.
I think Tamesh and I were talking about something like this because what we want is for you to, send your users a link so then people could try it out for themselves. Some of the hurdles that we've realized with building agentic systems is that in order for agents to work well, and we have so many different agents that we're stringing along together, for each agent to have very clearly defined tasks, we're passing a lot of requests to each step to have like clearly defined examples and outputs and templated systems. So
Yeah.
there's a cost component to it, and then at the core of what we're doing, we've realized that what we built is a prototype to a recommendation system, and there might be different ways to improve this recommendation system that is beyond just agents debating themselves. That I think really Tamesh came up with this idea, and initially, something he mentioned was, how are we going to get user-related data that's public? And I was thinking, like, how do we like Google search somebody? And then it's like, well, most people use X or Instagram, so let's like
Right.
start with something that people widely use first. And then from there, we were thinking, well, in order to learn more about people, recommendation systems work really well when there are a graph-based structure,
Uh-huh.
or there could be data enrichment in other ways. So that's something that we're still actively exploring, like how we can make this product better first with
Okay.
better like information than maybe just um, Twitter itself and using LLMs. Maybe not like in the next iteration, it might not necessarily use LLMs, but use some other like RAG or like other
Mhm.
architectures.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
One.
think about this. Right now, for a prototype, we are collecting data from Twitter and then like mapping it with Amazon products, right? But like if there's a Gen Z person, he might invest more time on Instagram. So like collecting data from Instagram would be more sensible for that particular person than collecting data from Twitter. So, and also we also thought about like what if we collect data from Amazon, match the description of the product with, and basically give product description to LLM, and then LLM decide which product to buy instead of like just randomly picking one from Amazon. So we thought about like there are multiple places where we can optimize the product in order to like bring it to the public so that everyone can use it. So
Yeah, another thing you could do is to bring like your personal memories
yeah.
to give Genie, and then like get the rest of the data sources that you mentioned before, so that like you can understand also your past purchases for that specific person. Like
Ooh, that's a good
I
idea.
keep, yeah, because I this comes from like actually my real life. I keep a list of things I've gifted in the past, because I tended to always gift the same thing to the same people. Like I know a person likes candles, and so I would like every year like give a different candle. But then what I
Wow.
struggle with, and that's why the X thing I thought was genius, was that you need to understand like what is the trending candle today, like this year.
Mm.
And so there's always
Mhm.
like ever changing brands and new brands that you want to discover. And I think X allows you
Mhm.
to do that discovery. So
Mhm.
having that incorporated in a flow that's allows me to understand that the person likes candles. So what is the trending candle today at that price point? Um, Allows me to just like do the one click purchase and don't not think about that anymore. I shouldn't say that, because it's not a
Mhm.
thoughtful gift anymore. But so long as people appreciate it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's brilliant. Actually, the like that's something I was thinking about as well when I was looking at different Twitter users to plug in to recommend them items. So like one Twitter persona that I tried were people who were really into movies, so they would tweet about like different movies. So then what came out of the suggestions are like movie posters or fan memorabilia, and I think that would be super fitting, and I would have never thought like personally giving them something like that, but it would make sense to then go through their Twitter feed to see like based on the sentiment of how they're like reviewing a movie, maybe get their favorite movie that they mentioned multiple times, like some kind of like mug or like celebratory like swag from that particular movie. And I think like your example like made me think about that.
My first feature request. Okay, now we're curious. Can you show us how Gift Genie works?
Okay, sure. So let me share my screen. So here we go. So let me just show you the fact that I had just run this app, and what the app looks like is like this. So you can optionally add the Twitter handle or even additional information. So if they have a Facebook and you just want to aggregate the text. So the first thing that you'll see is that this is what we're using Toolhouse for in step 1 for analyzing tweets and texts. We're grabbing the latest tweets or replies from this particular user. We can go to his Twitter to see like what he's saying. So he's quite opinionated. So we can see that it pretty much matches like impromptu. Like yes, like I recognize some of these tweets. So this is what Toolhouse does really quickly. And it was really easy to set up. And after that, we take the tweets and we identify some categories based on what he mentioned in his tweets. And then from those categories, we map those categories into particular interest-based items.
That's amazing.
So from those items, then we think about even more specific items that would be fitting for a gift that would be under the price range of around $30.
I love some of these already. Yeah.
I know, I agree. Like sometimes it's just really
fun,
helpful to see like a whole range. Like maybe like you don't agree with everything that the LLM picked for you, but at least you can see the whole range and then have more ideas. So then it came up with some, I guess, like relevance and pickings based on previous gift items, and then it starts debating those items. So for each of these pros and cons, there's like 3 turns that LLMs are going through with thinking about why the gift would be good versus bad. Let me just really quickly go into my code to show just real quickly like what kind of criteria that I've set. So let's see. So previously I talked, I'm prompting it to, make it very specific to what their interests are. And also I'm adding that like it might be from local artisans, small businesses, and specialty shops. I think a lot of times like people, and in general, just as global citizens, we're interested in like sustainable kind of like items. And then I do have some fallback ideas to give some examples of what would be useful. And then here is where the debate happens. So the con agent goes first, and like it's presenting some strong arguments opposing the gift idea. And then it's also focusing on limitations of the gift, or like what might be reasons the recipient might not appreciate the gifts. I think this is really useful, especially if maybe we got around that maybe the user isn't as interested as we thought in that particular topic, then like a gift might not be particularly useful. So maybe fancy bird watching binoculars, like maybe they wouldn't actually spend a lot of time watching birds. It's just something that they mention as a pass-through. But just wanted to give some ideas of how, one could also craft conversations to and against. And I went back to my project to do a lot more of these pro and con arguments, because that was something that really interested us and was at the core of like recommending something.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love the approach where you have kind of like a debate going on.
Mhm.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and then one great
Thanks.
thing you do is really to provide those options, like prefer sustainable options from small local businesses, and those things could be all configurable actually
Mhm.
in the future. Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
Right. Another thing was one of my system prompts in the beginning that like it's defaulting to items that are perishable in case people don't really like the
yeah,
gift. At least it's something that they could use and it doesn't clog up all their storage of stuff.
yeah, that's amazing. Um,
Yeah. So after that, it makes a final gift selection, and then we present them with some product links, and then they could click on these links to further look at the gift and consider purchasing it.
wow, that you
Oh
could
wow.
potentially monetize on that too, because you can
Yeah,
add an affiliate
referral
link.
links.
Yeah,
Yeah, affiliates. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
I would
agree.
definitely
So,
not buy this specific lamp, but I like
I,
the other ones. Raspberry Pi Zero. Sign me up.
I'll actually
um,
go for the salt lamps.
No way. Will you taste the lamp too, or
I am so tempted to taste all
no
this
more?
lamps. I've never done it though.
Send help. Send help.
Indeed.
yeah, like I'm just happy that it's presenting something that I would have never thought of. It is quirky, like their tweets, I would say.
Right.
Um,
And like also how that selection is opinionated, like sometimes you can like just cycle through all the options, but because you had the
mhm,
debate done before, then you know that, those
mhm.
are the things. And that basically helps you gain confidence that those are the right gifts based on the data sources that you plugged before.
Mhm. I agree. So going back to your question real quick of how to run it, I just want to show like these are
Okay.
a lot of the logs that look like in the backend, but it's just essentially a Streamlit app. So all I'm doing is just Streamlit run main.py, and then it spins up a Streamlit app, and then is there, I don't know if there's a Twitter that you want to use. Does anybody want to give
Elon
their
Musk.
Twitter?
Yeah, you can use mine. Sunglasses face. I tweet a lot.
Is,
So,
is this how you spell?
yep,
Yes.
Okay, great.
that's me.
Okay, let's
Okay,
try
we
this
can we
out.
can yeah, we can spend $100 on him.
Hey,
But
hey, hey.
Wait, let me
I'm
just
happy with small gifts.
it's the thought that counts. And so now in this process, I'm sure it's going to take a while to like create like all the agents and spin up all um, the workflow. So the first step is going to be basically gathering the tweets, or do you have something before that?
Right, it's just grabbing the tweets from Twitter itself, and then it's gonna categorize them and then display what the categories based of interest are based on the tweets.
Yeah. And you mentioned the process here could be quite task heavy because it might take minutes to generate, right?
Yeah,
But
right. That's true. Here we go. So here's,
Oh
yeah,
so
wow,
it does grab the replies.
nice.
If you want to verify, that's you, right?
That's me. And
Okay.
if I sorry,
yep,
if here's a little advice. If you want, you don't have to use this, but there's a way if you do a Twitter search to add some parameters to filter out like replies or post with images, whatever, whatever. Are you all familiar with those like operators?
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
Good
can
to
just
know.
you can just ask the agent to only get original tweets and to filter out replies, and it will do it for you.
oh wow. Yeah.
Okay, great. Good to know.
All
Yeah.
right, let's see. What am I interested in? Technology, self-care,
Yeah.
fitness, communication, and fashion. All
Wow.
right. I mean, I
That
can't lie. I do care about myself, and I wouldn't say fashion for myself, but maybe I don't know. Let's see.
Well, designer
Skin.
clothing accessories, nice hats would be nice on,
Oh yeah, I have all of those. That's amazing.
Okay, for those interested in podcasting or broadcasting,
Yeah. Hey, there.
communication
It's not
tools and
wrong.
books.
Yes. Mini pocket drone, Raspberry Pi Zero. Yeah, you
A
mentioned that
charcoal
already.
face mask from a local artisan. Hey, you know what? I always get myself a nice little face mask when I go to those shops out there in North Austin. So why not? A little bit of
Okay.
clay
Yeah.
always helps.
High-end fitness equipment. Actually, you always rave about your bikes. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yep. Yep. I have a
That's funny.
dream of a very expensive bike, and it's like in my mind. And I said one day when I make it, I'll buy that expensive bike. So
That is funny.
yeah,
beautiful.
I'm
Yeah,
sold.
so the next step when it's debating, that's the time that it takes the longest because it's gonna, I believe, take a bunch of these items and debate them each 3 times. So it's gonna
Oh wow.
take a bit.
Oh, so
So
very,
it's back and
very,
forth a couple. Okay, cool.
yeah, very thoughtful. Yeah,
That
this is
remains.
obviously going to take a while, but obviously we saw the final result, which
Mhm.
becomes Amazon links. So that's
Mhm.
amazing. I mean, this is pretty sophisticated. I
I
love it.
love
Thanks.
it.
And then we can also see in the back end the logs as well. It's something that I save. So um, yeah, I guess it's like really the same information, but sometimes it's helpful to see how
You can see the
so
progress. Yeah.
each interest is mapping out to a particular item.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So now it's processing all these different gifts. So you also,
Right. So
yeah, there you go.
yeah, so that means I believe the debates have
Here we go.
you know, yeah, printed out.
A mini pocket drone. Oh boy. I could get in trouble with those. Go everywhere,
Yes,
like fly
I
on no-fly zones here in Austin on the Capitol grounds.
right.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm more of definitely a Raspberry Pi kind of person.
there you
And
go.
I'll
I can
always
see
accept
that.
a face
Mhm,
mask. I would totally I used face mask before, like when
mhm,
people give them to me, they're like, "Hey, here's a nice face mask that I brought back from Japan," or "Hey, I brought this back
awesome.
from whatever, South America." And I'm like, "Cool." And then I just put it
Yeah.
on and I feel like, the pressure of the clay, right? Sometimes on your face, it makes you realize like, "Oh, wow, this is working, working inside the pores." It's pretty interesting.
So I'm kind of
Um,
hoping,
Mhm.
I'm kind of hoping then we'll get a face mask from the gift list, but we'll see.
yes.
But it's true that like, people could have sensitive skin. I haven't
Yeah.
really thought about that
Not
sometimes.
me. I have very good skin, no sensitivity. So feel free to
Okay.
send face mask. My birthday is in about a month, so y'all are welcome
Hey, we
to
can
let me.
send some
Yeah.
gifts.
I'm
Hard,
just kidding.
hard pivot into a skincare routine podcast.
Hey, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. A lot of people out there.
Mhm,
Hey, there's a couple of subreddits, right?
Yep.
They focus on skincare.
mhm,
So I'm thinking, I was thinking about other sources of information that you could use for personalization. And
Yeah.
I think you said
right.
you mentioned you work at Multi-On, and I think
Mhm,
that is a thing that if we had the Multi-On our tool store, we could allow
mhm,
people to like scrape or browse internet websites and find information, maybe even just take screenshots, and then
mhm,
the LLM could extract the data from the screenshots. So
mhm.
there's maybe a partnership here down the line. if
Mhm.
if if anyone's interested, reach out.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, something definitely I was thinking about was this idea of like this project is showing kind of like a segregation of different skill sets that LLMs can do. When we think of LLMs as mixture of experts, we're seeing a kind of like debating skill happening here. But Motan would be really good for something specific to browsing dynamic websites. And then
Yes.
we leave the recommendation to a recommendation agent, because
Exactly.
people use Multion all the time to recommend them like music playlists on YouTube,
Oh wow.
and recommend them gifts on Amazon purely just through Amazon browsing.
Uh-huh.
But like when I built this project, I was thinking about how can we do all the other skills like offline, pretty much, like
Right.
without the need for any web browsing, and just leave web browsing tools for web browsing, which is what it's good at, and then fine tune or like finally kind of iterate on like what our real requirements are, like specifically step by step for everything else.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Yeah. So after this debate, what's the next step that's being prepared now?
Now there is a reasoner agent that's looking through and reviewing each of these pros and cons, and then it's coming up with like a consensus on like, based on all these arguments, what would be the best few gifts.
I
Oh,
see.
perfect.
There you go.
So, yeah, so it's providing like a rationale on like.
Oh, that's awesome.
based
And they're
on that.
ordered, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Selected as the
Yeah,
third
I don't know.
button.
It's not. I guess we're necessarily ordered in any particular way.
Oh, okay. Leather wallet.
Yeah. Guess who's getting a Raspberry Pi?
No, I want a face mask. Handcrafted leather wallet. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
I
a
mean,
bad
this
idea.
could have. I mean, you mentioned things that you like, so maybe what
Yeah,
this could have been is like it could have piped into like an Amazon registry. Like Motan could have
Yep.
like crafted a whole entire registry out of that, and then it could be sent to you, and then you do
absolutely.
the final picking.
That's true.
Because Alan's not really gonna know based on like this like huge spread of all the different items which one really appeals to you, and it would still be quite personalized. To it's kind of like when people give you a gift card, it's kind of like a more
Yeah.
specific version of the
Well,
gift card.
I think that the more sources you will add, and like for example, like with tweets, like you can only retrieve like 5, 10 tweets maybe. It's hard to like find more data, right? Like Instagram, like I post a lot on Instagram. Well, not a lot, but I post on Instagram sometimes. I'm like, when I'm out eating or if I'm traveling, and there's some ideas there that could be extracted from that, right? But the problem is that
Wow.
accessing Instagram is not simple. It's not as simple as, for obvious reasons, and Cambridge Analytica might have something to do with that, but
That's-
um,
I guess, but
yeah, who
sorry, I
knows?
was distracted by the balloons. That was nice touch.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I know what I'm getting for my birthday or for Christmas, so I'm pretty excited to to try this one. So let's talk about this. Like,
Thanks.
what are your next steps? Are you all try to productize this, like basically push it to prod? Are you like evaluating like how much it's gonna cost you to run for search and then figure out, how you can monetize it? What are your tell me a little bit about.
Um, Tamesh, would you like to go?
Like I stated before, like, and what we have been discussing so far, we have to build the knowledge graph, and building a knowledge graph is like not a straightforward solution, because like uh, scraping data from different website is like the hardest problem.
Yeah.
uh, Also, we also need to optimize on the pipeline where the user do use Twitter or Instagram or YouTube. So we have to optimize on that scenario,
Okay.
so that like if someone like me who don't use Twitter much, extracting data from Twitter is like of no use. For
Right.
me, I just use Twitter for customer support, so
Okay.
it's gonna give me very bad gift
That makes sense.
recommendation.
And so which knowledge graph are you thinking about using? If you thought
Uh,
about it, maybe you didn't
Yeah.
think about it yet. I mean, no pressure.
we haven't thought about yet. Like it is a new domain for me, but like in the hackathon, someone builds a knowledge graph based on like collecting data from different sources. So
Uh-huh.
we got inspired from that solution. Like
Got it. I
we can
think
build.
I think they were using Neo4j, but I might be wrong, right?
Yeah, I agree. They were using Neo4j,
Mhm.
but how they were doing that, wasn't exactly sure.
Mhm.
The winning hackathon project was one where you upload all your documents, and then the documents turned into Neo4j like entity, like
Uh-huh.
the items that were required, I think, turned into entity nodes,
Mhm.
and then there were relationships that were drawn automatically, it seemed like. So that is like a whole big new field for both of
Yeah.
us. But we do totally believe that like enriching the data would be better in terms of, pulling some existing items from the Amazon catalog, maybe for
Hmm.
each product category. Like for example, your face masks, there's like 1,000 different face masks on Amazon. We're pulling the first item right now, but maybe there could be like fine-grained ways that the user could even have an input on like whether most reviewed face masks or most bought face masks would be better, or if that
Basically
even matters.
scraping all Amazon catalog pre- previously and then mapping it the recommendation
Yep.
to each product so that like it is more specific to the need than
Got it.
just randomly picking one. So yeah.
But
Perfect.
just to talk a little bit about like the development cost of this, I have
Yep.
to say that it costs a few dollars per run, believe it or not, because we have 9 different like pretty much
LLM.
steps, like events. Each event has like one or more steps. Like for example, the debating one has like 6 steps where the agents are debating against each other. We have templates and examples and criteria like prioritization of how the LM should think before responding. So because of all of that, we're sending quite a lot of tokens
Okay.
back and forth. And I think we can consider using Grok, but like they have a free like version
Yes.
for like
Yep.
that's rate limited. And then with Appify, it's like $40 a month. I don't know how much usage it is, but that would be their like starting rate. We're on a trial right now to
Okay.
grab links from Amazon. So those are the
Amplify.
immediate things that are generally like hindering us from immediately going live with, pushing this to production. And then I guess we could host it on. I think ngrok is an endpoint we could host it on if we had a dedicated server, but the web hosting of a server-based app, I would say would be possibly expensive as well if we can't just host it on Vercel, because Vercel does have like a limit of how many Python libraries you can
Right.
um,
Yep.
have. So above a certain limit it wouldn't work as well. So initially I was thinking like maybe we should convert this to TypeScript so then it could be hosted on Vercel for free to avoid the server side related
Mhm.
tasks.
Yeah. One good thing that you could do, you could go to like Google startups. They have a lot of programs, and we're happy to do some intros. And then also Cloudflare, they have like startup programs. If you decide to productize, bring this to production, they give you a lot of credits which you could use to like run, your agents through like the Cloudflare Workers AI, or again, like Google has an amazing Vertex AI playground hosting platform, et cetera, et cetera. And I think they're pretty generous with how many credits they offer. I think for Google it's around 200,000, and Cloudflare around the same too. So that's a lot of compute power for the agents. Um, but yeah, I mean, just food for thought.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yep.
but I'm so happy you all showed us, your hack or your project.
thank you.
Who knows where you
Thank
all
you.
take it? We'll be here cheering from the sidelines. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing today. It was
Yeah.
a great chat. Great chat.
That,
Sure. Thank you so much for supporting us, because like there were a lot of really great projects at this hackathon, and it didn't have to be us, but it was so amazing to see you guys get excited about a project. I remember like so we demoed twice because we were a top 10
Yep,
finalist, but the first time we demoed, I remember Daniel like being like, yes, when we talked about how we used Toolhouse, the
that's
screen
awesome.
printer. And that was such like a great experience for me to like have a win like this.
Yep,
So I
it's
amazing.
really
always
Yeah.
good
appreciate
to
it.
win. It's always a
Yeah.
good day to win.
That was a good
Yeah.
take. Yeah, it was a good way to see all that. That to me was the most pragmatic like thing that came out of the hackathon. Like this could be like a nicer, even the way you demonstrated on stage. You could like come out of the hackathon and put like a login gate or a nicer UI, or just like final minor touches, and that would have been it. Like the usefulness of that was clear from the
Yeah,
beginning.
just
So
ship it, right?
yeah,
Just
well,
ship it.
yeah, well done. And obviously, thank you for joining us, for showing Gift Genie to the world. And yeah, I wish the best of success for you all, for the app, for ourselves, obviously, and for the holiday season. And saying that selfishly again.
And
Right.
yeah, and we'll see you at the next hackathon. Perhaps there's a lot of hackathons in the area, in the Bay Area specifically.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be attending another one in about 10 days, right? On the
Yeah,
27th or something.
we like consider every weekend there's an hackathon that we're going to be there, basically.
Yeah. All
All right.
right.
Okay, good to know. Yeah,
All right.
so
Yes.
grateful. Thank you so
Thank you so much.
much.
Of
Yeah.
course. Nice. Thank you for
Thank you so
chatting.
much. Yeah.
Yes.
See
Thank
ya.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.